I didn't know whether to wear something like this or whether to wear something less.
With the complexities of circum... Ooh, thank you.
Goldie Hawn, the woman who always radiates with stunning beauty and talent, often regarded as an eternal icon of Hollywood, once carried secrets that even took powerful mogul Hugh Hefner by surprise. Few people know that at one point, Goldie actually signed a contract with Playboy, but what followed in the negotiations became a mystery that stunned both the media and Playboy's inner circle. Her career, too, was once put on hold simply because she dared to refuse a sensitive relationship with one of the most powerful directors of that era. And who was that man? In today's video, we'll delve into untold truths, the things buried for decades beneath the glamour surrounding one of the most prominent cultural icons of the 1970s. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the stories we have coming up. That era was a golden age of personal liberation and a powerful feminist movement. Goldie Hawn, with her sweet smile, dreamy beauty tinged with a touch of rebellion, and charming acting talent, quickly became one of the most sought-after pop culture icons of the time. However, behind the spotlight was a quiet but tense negotiation between Goldie and Playboy, the world's most famous adult magazine and a cultural symbol of modern masculinity in that era. It wasn't until nearly 45 years later that a series of internal documents, leaked from Playboy's secret archives, revealed the truth. Goldie Hawn had once been selected to represent a special campaign highlighting liberated female behavior, a theme the magazine wanted to celebrate. Yet everything was abruptly halted just before it was set to be announced. Why? That question remained unanswered for decades. According to the leaked documents, in mid-1972, when Goldie was at the peak of her career after winning an Oscar for Cactus Flower, she became a strategic target for Hugh Hefner. At the time, Playboy was not merely an adult magazine, but a platform shaping the lifestyle and mindset of modern men. Hefner's plan was to use Goldie's image, sensual, intelligent, and wildly popular, to reposition Playboy in the face of growing criticism from intellectual circles. A record-breaking offer was made, $500,000, an unprecedented sum at the time, along with a promise to give Goldie full creative control. She would choose the photographer, the style, the setting, and even the editorial direction. For Hefner, it was a bold but strategic move. For Goldie, it was a serious test of personal boundaries and core values. Goldie's response to Playboy's invitation was neither emotional nor impulsive. It was a calculated blend of industry insight, strategic thinking, and the unwavering conviction of a woman with a strong sense of identity. What followed, in silence, became one of the most quietly influential cultural negotiations in Hollywood history. Instead of outright rejection, as many had expected, Goldie Hawn agreed to a private meeting with Playboy representatives at a luxurious Beverly Hills estate. In an atmosphere scented with cigar smoke, classical music softly playing, and crystal glasses filled with red wine, Goldie held her ground. She didn't oppose women posing for provocative photos, as long as it was their choice, not the result of societal pressure or male imposition. An internal Playboy memo once recorded Goldie's sharp rebuttal: "Would doing this make women feel more empowered, or would it just turn me into a tool for the male gaze?" The question didn't just silence the magazine's leadership, it affirmed that Goldie was not a star easily swayed by glamour or money. Although she left the door open for potential collaboration, Goldie laid out a unique condition. She insisted that the entire photo shoot be conducted by a female photographer, something Playboy had never agreed to before. For Goldie, it wasn't just about ethics or feminist ideals, it was a personal boundary that could not be crossed. But that very condition brought the negotiations to a standstill. To her, nothing was worth compromising her autonomy, especially when it came to deeply personal expressions. Goldie also made it clear she would not pose fully nude. She was willing to express sensuality, but only within limits where she felt safe and respected. Hugh Hefner, known for tightly controlling the content of his magazine, reportedly accepted the condition, at least on paper. However, according to leaked internal documents from a 1973 editorial meeting, the Playboy staff secretly hoped they could persuade Goldie to become more open after signing the contract, a tactic they had successfully used with many other models in the past. This time, however, it backfired. Goldie learned about the plan through a friend working on the production team and felt deeply betrayed. Although no formal contract had been signed, she had agreed to several terms in writing, putting both parties in a complex legal gray area. In the end, they mutually agreed to quietly terminate the project. No headlines, no lawsuits, but the aftermath of the incident lingered for years. In the entertainment world, the story of Goldie Hawn turning down Playboy became something of a whispered legend, vague yet powerful, a symbol of a woman daring to say no within a system that never truly favored her. But that wasn't the whole story. In 1970, Goldie entered one of the darkest chapters of her career. She was frozen out by an invisible force, the consequence of refusing a behind-the-scenes relationship with one of the most powerful directors in Hollywood. The incident occurred in the late 1970s, when Goldie was at the height of her fame following the huge success of Shampoo, 1975, and Foul Play, 1978. In an era where power resided behind desks and camera lenses, every young actress understood that pleasing the big men wasn't just a career move, it often meant compromising one's moral boundaries. Goldie was not one to be easily subdued. When a famous director, an Oscar winner and known as a box office wizard, offered her a leading role written specifically for her, she was thrilled. The role was a chance to break free from the naive blonde image the public had attached to her, and potentially a ticket to a second Oscar nomination. But everything quickly took a different turn. A private dinner, seemingly just a friendly meeting between an actress and a director, carried far more loaded implications. According to a close friend of Goldie Hawn, that evening wasn't just about discussing the project. The director, known for his charm and immense power, made a not-so-subtle suggestion: if she wanted the role, she would need to commit more, on multiple levels. Goldie didn't hesitate. She responded directly, refusing any form of intimacy beyond the professional realm. And the conversation ended, cold, silent. A few days later, her name vanished from the cast list. No official explanation was given. At a press conference, the director merely said, "We're taking the character in a different direction." But Hollywood understood. And Hollywood remembered. Goldie had said no, and the price of that refusal wasn't immediate, but it was unmistakable. In the months that followed, she entered a career lull. The roles slowed. Major scripts seemed to avoid her. Some studios even shelved projects at the mere mention of her name. From being a symbol of the modern independent woman, Goldie was suddenly labeled difficult, too outspoken, not easily managed. In an industry where women were expected to be agreeable and well-behaved, standing firm in one's principles became a costly weakness. But Goldie didn't choose silence. Instead of waiting for roles from powerful male directors, she created opportunities for herself. In 1980, she produced and starred in Private Benjamin, a film she co-produced and led. It became a massive hit, grossing over $60 million and earning her an Oscar nomination for Best Actress. It was a fierce response, not through words, but through action, sent to everyone who had ever dismissed her as just another pretty face. The incident with that director was never publicly addressed by Goldie. But years later, in an interview, when asked whether she had ever lost opportunities because she refused a sensitive relationship, she simply said, "Sometimes you have to choose between your career and your self-respect. I've always chosen the latter. Because if I lose that, what's left to be proud of when I look at myself on screen?"